You've been critical of OSBI to an extent across the board. Let me read you something that you sent to me. It says, as a result of what I believe is a breakdown in leadership, cases are slipping through an established review process and ending up in an unexplainable limbo status in which resolution is not possible. These are serious criminal cases that, left unresolved, put the public at risk, erode public confidence, and expose the OSBI to potential civil prosecution.
That's correct.
Can you explain that a little more?
Yeah, there is a number of cases that I would find during my activities at OSBI that most would consider solved, and that they were never pursued any further. Those cases are cases where you had a suspect, you had, in some cases, witness information, witness testimony available, DNA testing, early DNA testing, linking a suspect to a case, and in at least one of the cases, the charges were actually presented to the Oklahoma County District Attorney's Office and accepted, but the case was never taken to them. 7 years ago, the case was never taken to them.
So,
and
just so I'm clear, 7 years ago, they effectively solved a murder case, but it's never been prosecuted.
They solved this murder case probably well before 7 years ago. It's a 1982 homicide that occurred in Oklahoma City, and the victim's body was dumped in Pottawatomie County. They had witness information, a co-defendant statement, and DNA evidence linking a person to this case. And it was presented 7 years ago to the district attorney and approved, accepted. What happens in that is you take your case, you talk to your prosecutor about your case. The prosecutor says, yeah, let's do it. And you bring them all the reports and information that you need to pursue the charge. And it was never done. And nobody can really explain why.
Kyle, you have a reputation as sort of a hard-charging investigator. Some might even call you hot-headed and perhaps even overly aggressive in pursuing charges. How would you respond to that?
Well, I believe that I'm not the only. First of all, there are a lot of good homicide investigators in this state. Tulsa has a great number of homicide investigators. Norman, Midwest City, there are good investigators out there. I believe that if you're going to be in that position, then you should aggressively pursue your case. If you're not, then you should go somewhere else. The public expects their homicide investigators, their violent crime investigators, their sex crimes investigators to do all they can to bring about a resolution to a case. I believe that there are times you have to be diplomatic. There are times you have to be aggressive, and you have to be hard-headed. Law enforcement cannot guarantee a conviction on a criminal case. It's not in our hands. It's not in our power. What we can guarantee, and what we should guarantee, is every effort to bring the facts together and present it to somebody that can pursue a charge. That's all that we can do. We can't guarantee the conviction, but we can guarantee that we do everything we can to resolve that case. And I really have no patience for people that don't want to do that. If they don't want to do it, find another line of work. The public expects more from you.
Now, you have said that some of the problem at OSBI is a problem of leadership.
I believe so, yes.
Can you explain that?
Well, look at it this way. OSBI is like, I had one of their agents tell me, it's like a high-performance car being operated by amateur drivers. You have everything you need, everything the public needs to pursue these cases. You've got a state-of-the-art lab, multi-million-dollar lab that rivals anything I've seen. You've got what I honestly believe some of the best crime scene investigators in law enforcement. I honestly believe that the OSBI's crime scene agents are some of the best that there are in that business. I know a lot of them. I've worked with a lot of them for years. I've worked with some of them when they were crime scene agents at Oklahoma City. You can't have all these tools and not use them. And I think that when it comes to the actual investigation of these cases, the reason I think that there's a leadership problem is these cases, the ones that slip through the cracks that I've mentioned, there is an established review process at OSBI. You're supposed to sit down with your AIC, your supervisor, and explain to them why you haven't resolved that case, and they're supposed to try to figure out what else can be done. It doesn't seem like that ever goes through. It doesn't seem like anything ever happens. It's like, it's almost like they go and say, I can't do anything more with the case, okay, set it aside, work on something else. There's no real explanation for it. I can tell you that if I had any of the cases that I gave you as examples at Oklahoma City, and I hadn't made an arrest on them or I hadn't pursued charges on them, I would be in big trouble at Oklahoma City because they pay attention to their cases.